Hello guys, welcome to a new video. I'm really excited to finally be able to show you this piece because I've only been able to post previews of it so far, so finally I can show you the whole illustration. This was completed for a zine called Moonlight, which was based entirely around Shiro from Voltron, and all profits went to Freedom Service Dogs of America. I was really pleased to be selected as part of this scene, but I was also very aware that a lot of the other artists are extremely talented, and I felt like I had to push myself to create the best piece that I could, even more so than usual. And so I really wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to also give myself the opportunity to play with different elements such as backgrounds, and of course the space backdrop, which was something that I really wanted to draw. So I thought long and hard about the theme for this piece, and I decided to go for contrast, which I'm aware that a lot of other people went for in the end, but at the time I didn't know what anyone else was doing. I was aware people would probably be doing the theme between the past and present Shiro, but it was something that was nagging at me and I really wanted to do it, so hopefully mine sort of differed enough to make it memorable. As you might be able to see from my initial line art that I did for this, I did originally have Shiro with a sad expression as he looked out of the window, but then I changed my mind, so even though the scene might necessarily have been more of a sad one, I did want to draw a happy Shiro in the end because I feel like he deserves it. I have drawn quite a lot of sort of angry or sad Shiro pieces, and I wanted to just draw him smiling for once. And so I kind of flipped things around in a way because I drew his present self smiling and his past self looking sort of melancholy and as he looks out into space, and traditionally I kind of think of it being the other way round, but then I tried to think of all the things that he has now in the series as opposed to the things that he's lost from his previous life. So I decided to draw pictures of the sort of new family that he's got now. So whereas he now can't see his family at home anymore, he's got the Paladins and Allura and Koran, and they've formed a new family for him. And I think that's a really important theme throughout the series because there's also Keith doesn't have a family per se. Lance obviously has a big family that are very important to him, but he can't see them anymore. Pidge has lost her family to the Golra. And then there's Hunk, whose family we don't really know anything about, but obviously they're also back on Earth. And then there's Allura and Koran, who obviously their entire race have been wiped out. So the theme of family is a very important one in the series, and that's what I kind of wanted to draw on here. So even though I've drawn Shiro by himself, in a way I didn't want it to feel like he was alone. Obviously, there are some things that we're not 100% sure on in terms of whether Shiro knew the other Paladins at the garrison or whether they only knew him from a distance. Like, Lance once said Shiro was his hero, so I presume it was kind of hero worship from a distance and that they hadn't actually met. Whereas Keith, I presume that they were already friends before the garrison. Before the Voltron rather, and so I was kind of running on those ideas, but again kind of making a little bit up there in terms of what was going in the photographs in the background. I think consistency was a bit of an issue in this one for me, and I'm not 100% sure I achieved what I wanted to in terms of portraying the difference between the current Shiro and the older one, or rather the younger one. So obviously with the one that was showing in the glass, he had the black hair, which immediately makes a big difference along with the scar and the uniform, but even though he was more formally dressed, he would be a little bit sort of smaller because he's bulked up since his experiences with the Golra, and so he would look a little bit younger. And I'm not entirely sure I managed to get that consistency in there, so I'll have to kind of work on that. I am not as confident with drawing characters from the side as I am as in the traditional three-quarter view, which I'm sure a few of you can relate to, because we are very comfortable with three-quarter view pictures. And so that was a little bit of an issue for me. There were some things that I would change if I did it again, but unfortunately at the time I didn't have the opportunity to really change a lot of things at last minute notice, because unfortunately I did have some issues with this getting quite last minute. So I struggled with it for quite a while, because like I said, I just didn't really want to let anyone else in the zine down and make sort of one terrible page that stands out among the rest and everyone sort of looks at it and goes, why is that there? So I kind of stressed myself out a little bit with trying to think of the best idea I possibly could and how I could portray it the best I could. And so I got to kind of a few days before the deadline and I was really stuck, and I just asked my friends if they could advise me, and basically all of them gave me a kick up the backside and said, you need to get on with this, don't give up, you've got to finish it. And they all gave me advice on his posing and colours and so on, because you'll see I changed his pose once or twice because it just looked awkward. I did struggle a little bit with that, but I think it's okay in the end, and they really got me to finish it, whereas I'm not sure how it would have turned out if they hadn't motivated me that much, so I'm really grateful to them for that. And it's always worth, if you are struggling with a piece, it's always worth asking for a second opinion from someone that you trust to be honest, because they will tell you what you can fix and what looks okay, and it will sort of give you a new perspective on it that can really help you out. The thing I enjoyed the most about this drawing was the colouring process, partly because I'd got past the stressful stage then of figuring out what was going where with the line art and I could just relax and enjoy the process of colouring, but also just because I got the opportunity to play around with the space background and the planets and the glow effect on the walls, because I do like my luminosity layers, they're like my guilty pleasure, and I will usually use about 5 in every drawing, so I really enjoyed drawing that. And I did the colouring in one day, which is the quickest I've ever coloured a piece, I think. So like I said, there are things I would probably go back and improve on if I had the chance, some details I would add in, but I think it's okay for what I could achieve in the time scale that I had. I'm not saying it was a rushed zine at all, it was very well scaled in time, but unfortunately because I spent too much time stressing over what I was going to do for it, because I put a lot of pressure on myself, I then didn't give myself enough time to work on it. So I've got to use that as a lesson for next time, is to decide quickly what I'm going to do and then spend all that time working on it, not just thinking about it. So overall I am pretty pleased with the results and the different colours that I used and how the piece came together. Hopefully I managed to portray the kind of bittersweet feeling that I wanted to convey in this picture. So Shiro is looking back and considering the things he's lost, but also looking forward and seeing that he's got a new family of sorts and he's got hope and so on, whereas with his experiences with the Galra he might have thought that he'd lost all of that. So hopefully I managed to convey that kind of emotion. If you manage to pick up the Moonlight zine, it will probably be on its way to you very soon. You can keep an eye on their Twitter page for updates. If you did buy it, thank you very much. If you didn't, they might still have some after pre-order, I'm not sure to be honest, but keep an eye out. And I hope you enjoyed looking at this process video, so hopefully I'll have lots more videos up for you very soon, and I really appreciate you stopping by to take a look at this one. I will see you next time. Bye!